Guys, welcome back to the video. Today we're doing what if Izuku had a telekinesis. And yeah, thank you guys for the 10 views from the last video. Hope you guys stay here and watch the full thing. And yeah, leave a like if you like it. I feel like you're gonna like it. And yeah, so without further ado, let's hop right into it. Part All Might told Izuku the history of One for All and gave it to him, and Izuku went to his house, went to sleep, and the next day he woke up. He didn't feel anything the night before because it takes a while for it to kick in. He wakes up the next day and his body's feeling really, really light for some reason. He just feels stronger and better after he woke up. So he goes back to the beach where All Might told him to meet up the day before, and All Might tells Izuku, teaches him the basics of since Izuku knows how to fight, he knows how to strike, he knows how to dodge and stuff like that. He was just teaching him how to activate it. It took a little bit for Izuku to activate it, and yeah. So once he started activating, he could only use like 10% of it, right? But he wouldn't know how to use full cowling, right? So Izuku would see his strength and how it feels to fight with this new strength. And yeah, so it would take him the whole day to he would practice some fighting moves, so not kung fu, his martial arts on All Might with his One for All activated his 10% of it, right, on his arms and legs one by one. And the next day, right, the training session would be over and Izuku would go back home and be in his bed, and he would be thinking about like what he could do with this and how he could get stronger and stuff like that, and what he can do with like techniques and moves with the power. And he was realizing that if there was some way for him to use the 10% to the all for one, like around his body, like around all of his body, right? Not just one part. So the next day, he would go there and he would try to, do that, right? Use full cowling. And it would take him the whole week to figure out how to use it. After that week of training, he would figure out how to use it. And for the rest of the summer, he would train with using One for All. So now he was also lifting weights, doing exercise, getting stronger. So yeah. So after the 3 months, I'm pretty sure it was 3 months or 4 months or whatever. He got really, really strong. He was a little more buff than he was in the original. So in the original, he could use like I think like 10%. Right, he already could use 10%, so and it's a little more buff. So let's say he could do 20%, but for full cowling for a minute, right, like that, without getting hurt a little or without feeling any strain on his body. So yeah, so it would be the last day of training, and All Might would tell Izuku if he wants to spar with him, right? And All Might said, "I'll of course have some restraints on my body." He would pull out on these two 100-pound weights, and wrist and leg weights, and they would be 100 pounds each, and he would use 2% of One for All, and they would start fighting. Since All Might's using the weights and the only 2% of One for All, Izuku would win because, he could use 20% and his martial arts technique. So yeah, so basically the fight would go, All Might would dash at Izuku and try to swing at him. Izuku would dodge and weave. Eventually, he would keep dodging and weaving. He would catch a punch from All Might, and he would struggle to do this because All Might's so strong, and All Might would be like, oh damn, he caught it, dang. And without even thinking, right, he tripped All Might and twisted his arm and had All Might on his face, and he used his full 20% on his 40% on his arm, on his two arms, right, because he could use 20% full cowling, and he could use 40% on each limb, right? So he used 40% on both of his arms to keep All Might down, and yeah, so All Might tapped down because Izuku was twisting his arm and he was gonna break his arm if he kept going. Yeah, so All Might would say how he's really proud of Izuku and how he wished they had more time so that he could train with his quirk and One for All activated at the same time, and yeah, so Izuku would be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. right? He said he completely forgot about his quirk. He only uses it for small stuff like pulling stuff closest to him and stuff like that. So yeah. So sorry. I'm really tired. So yeah. So he would go back to his house. The next day he would wake up. It would be the day of the entrance exam. He would be walking over and he would try to use One for All and his quirk activated. So he would activate his full cowling, right, while he was walking to school, and everybody would be looking at him like, is he using his quirk out of nowhere? What is this kid doing? He's gonna break something. So he activated it and he started using telekinesis. So he was like One for All and all the like the stuff that appears when he uses full cowling, like the stripes on his body, right, would be around his hand, and he would use his telekinesis, and he would look at a parked car, reach over to it, right, with one finger, and move his finger, and he could use telekinesis on the car and move it with one finger. Before, he couldn't do that, right? So that just shows how much his telekinesis improved with One for All activated while he's using telekinesis. So he could pick up a whole car, and each car, no, we're not talking like a small car like a Mini Cooper. We're talking about like a Jeep. So yeah, so that's like not even a ton. It's just like a thousand of pounds or something. And he picked it up with one finger. Imagine with a full hand and two hands too. And yeah, so Izuku would go in and he would be sitting down. He would meet Uraraka. He would still fall because he would try to figure out moves he could do with One for All. He would trip and he would try to use telekinesis to push to push himself off. To pull something towards him so he wouldn't fall all the way. But Uraraka uses quirk and make sure he doesn't fall. And they both start laughing about it. And Izuku, he isn't shy, so he doesn't freeze up. He talks to her. They have a cool conversation, and she says, "Oh well, good luck out there, and yeah, I hope you pass." And like Izuku says, "Oh, okay, thanks. I hope you pass too." They go in, do the test. He doesn't start muttering and stuff like that during the test, so Ida doesn't tell him to shut up. And yeah, so he takes the written portion of the test. If he passes, of course, because he's smart. And yeah, so he passes, and then the actual test, because some students of UA that are not going to the hero course only took the written portion of the exam and not the hero test or whatever. And yeah, so all the hero students, the people that wanted to be hero students, would go into the test to be a hero student. Izuku's time, right, to do it was the first group, right? Like I think he was in group A. Yeah, group A. The group was up first. So yeah, so they're waiting in front of the gate, and Izuku's like, "Wait, what if I just go?" And yeah, so he uses One for All full cowling, is 20% on his legs, and just jumps over the fence, and everyone's yelling like, "He can't do that! He's cheating!" And Present Mike says he's not cheating. When you're a hero, no one tells you, "Oh, you could go and fight a villain now." Not do they? No one tells you to, "Oh, go. You could fight. You could protect and save the innocent." And he says no one in the real world, and when you're a hero, no one tells you when to go. You just go. And yeah, so he doesn't open the gates, and so everyone starts jumping over the fence. The fence is really big, right? So Uraraka, of course, flies over it. Either just he gets a running start and jumps over it. Some people just break through the gate. And yeah, so Izuku has a big head start on everybody else because Present Mike gave his whole mini speech about like no one tells you when to go when you're a real hero in the real world and stuff like that. So yeah, so Izuku's going around. He already defeated like 5 or 3 2-point machines just with One for All. He punched them, breaks them with one punch. Eventually he turns back to see like where everybody else is, and he sees Ida booking it at him. He just sees Ida zooming towards him. He's like, "What the hell? He's hella fast." So yeah, so Ida zooms past Izuku, and Izuku's like, oh, I see this as a challenge. So he starts using 20%, not 20, like 40% on his legs, and starts just booking it, and he outruns Ida, and Ida's like, what the hell is this guy? And yeah, so Izuku, he just goes around for for 2 minutes, using telekinesis plus one for all, and just picking up the robots and throwing them and mashing them into another robot and stuff like that. So he would rank up like 60 hero points. And yeah, so out of nowhere, Izuku senses like a big rumbling. He's like, what the hell's going on? What is this? So yeah, so out of nowhere, at the corner of his eyes, he sees like a big group of people running towards him. I mean, running away from this one thing, running away basically. And he runs towards them to see what's going on. He turns the corner and sees this humongous robot with a 0 pointer, a humongous robot. He's like, what the hell is that? So yeah, he's like, oh my god, they really put this in the test? Oh, they're trying to kill us? So yeah, so he was about to turn around, but then he sees some glimpse of Brown, and he's like, Brown, what the hell is that? So he looks closer and sees someone reaching out that was stuck under the rubble. So without even instinct, not even thinking, he uses 40% on his legs and starts booking it towards the person. And out of nowhere, when he's running, he jumps up, uses telekinesis as an arm, plus 20% full cowling. He picks up a bunch of rubble, makes it into a ball, and throws it at the 0 pointer, knocking it back. And then he does like a full spin kick with 40% on his leg, and a big gust of wind is sent towards the 0 point robot, and makes a big hole in it. And then he uses telekinesis and full cowling and 20 on both hands, and starts ripping apart the robot one by one. He lands down, uses 40% of his legs to suck in the impact, and he uses telekinesis to get the rubble off of Uraraka and pulls her closer because she was like tired and she couldn't move. So recovery girl comes in, helps Uraraka and stuff like that. And yeah, so Izuku goes home that day, and the next, like a week later, he gets an envelope from UA saying that he passed with the highest score in the year. He passed with 60 hero points and 60 rescue points, so that's 120 points in total. That's like the highest, or like the top 5 highest ever anybody got. And yeah, so he said they told him his class, he's in class 1A, right, and stuff like that. So yeah, so a week later passes, and it's the first day of school. Izuku goes walking to school by himself, not really walking, like running to school, because he needs his daily cardio and stuff like that. So yeah, so he goes to school, he goes into his class, he's the first one there because he was running, not walking. He gets there first, he's sitting there, bobbing his head to some music he's singing in his head and stuff like that. Eventually, a bunch of students come in, and they're all staring at Izuku, right? And Izuku's like, what the hell, why are they staring at me? And he overhears some people saying, like, isn't that the kid that destroyed the 0 pointer? Who is that guy? And yeah, so Izuku's thinking in his mind, like, are they really talking about me destroying that 0 pointer? Like, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, so eventually Uraraka comes in and sits next to Izuku, and they start chit-chatting, and eventually Baku comes in and he makes eye contact with Izuku, and they make eye contact for a quick second, and then Bakugo says something under his breath, and Izuku can't hear him. So yeah, and Izuku's like, oh, it doesn't matter, I don't care. So yeah, so he sits down. Eventually, Aizawa comes in and tells them to shut up. They all shut up, and he says that how they're gonna be taking a test outside, and yeah, so they all go outside. Before they put on the gym uniforms, and they were explaining how all the stuff, like the test you're gonna do is a physical test, and you could use your quirks, and it is this test to see who's the strongest position in the class, and who needs more training, and who doesn't need that much training because they're really the strongest. And since everyone was like, okay, this is gonna be easy just to see how strong we are, And Ozawa sees, he's like, oh, okay, they think it's gonna be fun. And then he says, all right, last place gets suspended. Expelled. And yeah, so everyone turns their head at him, and their mouth drop to the floor, and they're like, what? And yeah, so Ozawa tells Izuku how he got first place in the entrance exam. He's going to be able to go first for the first test, the ball throwing test. Just an example. It's not going to be graded, just to see what the first place, the highest ranking student has. So yeah, so Ozawa tells him to go all out and throw the ball with his quirk. So he uses 40% on his arms, uses telekinesis. He picks up the ball with both hands, right? He throws it. He picks the ball up with one hand, throws it, then he uses telekinesis. He pulls it back and then throws it even farther. And yeah, so it goes to I think 2 kilometers, extremely far. So yeah, they do the physical test. Izuku, he does pretty well in all of them. He uses 40% on his legs for the running one. For the grip run, he breaks the machine. He got first place in that one. For the running one, he got second place. The only reason he beat Ida in the entrance exam is because Ida didn't know. He didn't realize it, and he wasn't even using his full running speed. He was using he was just sprinting. He was running, not sprinting full speeds like that. So that's why Izuku beat him. So Izuku gets second place in the running one. He gets first place in the hopping one. He just hops over the whole thing. And yeah, so he gets first place in the whole thing. The only one he also gets second place in the ball throwing one, because we all know Uraraka gets infinity because she just makes it go into gravity, taps it forward, and it just goes for infinite time and stuff like that. So yeah, so Izuku goes home that day, goes to sleep, and that's where I'm gonna end it. Hope you guys liked it. Bye.